The purpose of recording yourself is to find mistakes, but the purpose of finding mistakes is not to get upset. The purpose of finding mistakes is to be able to understand them and to correct them. What matters here is the speed of correction, and this requires this change of mindset. I wanted to talk about mistakes. Again, the last video was about mistakes, and I was talking about the way I correct those mistakes myself when I speak. And I still make mistakes, and I still do a lot of self-correcting work when I listen to myself, when I speak, when I write. I still do a lot of this work. And every time I look at students' work, and every time I work with people individually, I see that a lot of people, a lot of students are terrified of making mistakes, and this is what I would like to talk about today. The title of the live video, the way I announced it actually, is the purpose of recording yourself, the purpose of recording your voice, the purpose of recording your speech if you want to move to more advanced language skills. It is really important, and let's talk about this method today. It's not the best method to learn English. It's not the must-have. It's not something that is unique. It's not something that no one has told you before. You know, none of those catchy headlines are going to be here. I just want to show you something that really works, and very few people actually do it. I'm very lucky. Well, I don't want to say I'm lucky. Maybe I am. I'm lucky that people who work with me understand how it's supposed to work, and people who take my courses, people who take my programs understand the importance of this exercise. But so many people I speak to know about this exercise, but they never get to do it simply because they're terrified of making mistakes. And this fear is a huge roadblock on the way to real fluency. And not only fluency, you know, it doesn't affect only your language skills, it affects the way you think about so many things. Why do I mention the word mistakes? Because the purpose of filming yourself, like for example, right now I'm gonna have a record of what I said. I'm filming myself, and that, to be honest, that is the purpose why I do live videos, and that's the purpose why I started my YouTube channel, because I want to see how I talk, because I want to be able to give feedback to myself. And the purpose of recording your voice when you speak English, recording your speech, filming yourself, there's only one purpose, is to find mistakes and fix them. And you know, that is also the reason why people do not do this exercise. And even when they film themselves, or when somebody films them, they don't like that, and they never get to watch this record. You know, when I do my public speaking courses, we always record students' work in class, and students always receive homework to record themselves at home. That's part of the homework. And, you know, when I just started, I used to have students who would tell me, I can't watch those recordings. You know, some of the students couldn't look at the videos of themselves for months. You know, they needed 2 or 3 months just to open those videos and to look at themselves. This fear is that strong. With some people it's easier, and especially if you have some acting experience or if you deliver a lot of presentations, that is easier. However, even with people who deliver a lot of presentations, when I work with sales teams, when I work with marketing teams, or when, you know, there is a task for the team to deliver a beautiful, insightful presentation somewhere at a conference in Southeast Asia or on stage in front of a lot of people, the boss sets the task for the team that they need to deliver a confident and professional presentation. When I start working with a team, I ask them, guys, have you delivered presentations in English before? The answer is usually yes. And when I ask them, so what did you learn from your previous experience of giving presentations in English? And they look at me like, what do you mean? Like, what? What do you mean? I was supposed to learn something? And I was like, okay, have you watched the videos of your own presentations? Because usually at large conferences, the organizers always record every presentation and then they post them on YouTube. So videos of every talk are usually available after the conference is over. And those people also told me, yeah, I know. And even our company filmed every presentation, but I never got to watch them. And when I ask why, the answer is always the same. I don't want to be upset. I don't want to be upset. I don't want to see myself because I know that I didn't deliver the presentation the way I thought I could deliver it. I didn't live up to my own standards, and I just don't want to be upset. But that's the whole point, because mistakes are good. Mistakes are your indicator. They tell you exactly what you need to correct in order to move to the next level. If you ignore those signals, you're never going to move to the next level. Mistakes are great. It's a great opportunity to see what exactly you need to fix. But what I preach, and I practice what I preach, is that you need to be able to see those mistakes yourself. Most people rely on a teacher who will come and tell them, here is your mistake. Let's do unit 4 in this textbook, so that you finally learn what present simple is all about. And they rely on a teacher to find their mistake, to correct their mistakes, and to correct their mistakes again and again, because once they get used to the fact that, whenever they feel lost or whenever they feel like they don't know what to say, they just need to push the button, a teacher will come and tell them the correct variant. Once they get used to this mentality or to this sequence of events and they know that this is how things work, it's very hard to get rid of this habit, and it's very hard to start asking yourself this question. What do I see here? What can I correct? What sounds correct? Most people have no idea. And confidence comes exactly from that feeling that you know that this sounds correct, and here you're not sure, so you need to go and check it out. Or here you definitely know that it sounds incorrect, but you notice yourself saying that again and again. And it's a mistake if you keep saying the incorrect variant again and again, but that only means that you haven't mastered the better version. You haven't probably found a better way of saying it, and even if you haven't practiced enough saying that. So that's a signal that you need to come back to that construction, practice it again. In order to be able to correct your mistakes when you speak, and the only way to move to more advanced levels of speaking skills is to find what those speaking skills are. Like, what does this next level look like? Usually for most people, and they understand this, they hear their foreign colleagues at the office, they watch YouTube, they meet people around, and they notice that other people speak better English because maybe they speak faster and they don't think that much. Maybe they have better accent. Maybe they use more sophisticated vocabulary. Maybe they just look more confident. But every person pretty much understands the criteria of what the next level looks like. And if you don't understand this criteria, write it down, because maybe people just sound confident, but they say absolute nonsense. That is also the case very often, and you probably don't want to move to that level. But usually the next level implies that you don't think about every next word you're going to say. Your thought process is kind of automatically translated in English because it happens in the English language. Your thought process happens in the English language when you speak English. For most people, it's better vocabulary, and they hear, for example, that they repeat themselves. They repeat the same vocabulary. Maybe, even think about how you speak. Maybe you start every sentence with it is, or there is, there are. Or maybe you repeat weak verbs such as make, have, and do. Maybe this is all the verbs that you use because they're the easiest and the simplest ones to use. Maybe you want to learn how to diversify your vocabulary and use verbs that communicate more precise meaning, like maybe delivered, maybe managed, maybe orchestrated, maybe organized, but not made or had. This is what I see, for example, a lot. The people overuse these verbs and they don't communicate exactly what they mean to say. The next criteria might be confidence, how confident you are and how confident you sound when you speak. And that only comes with practice. There is no other way, unfortunately, because if you're afraid to speak and if you translate every next word in your head, and if you keep thinking like, is this the correct grammar? have, had been, was. You know, we're not speaking about confidence. Confidence is not going to come. So you have to define what these criteria of the next level are, because then you will know where you're going. If you don't know where you're going, you're never going to arrive there. But my point is, once you know what these criteria are, where you want to go, you can see the inconsistencies. For example, those people who speak better English, they can do this, ABC. Yeah, they're more confident, they use better vocabulary, they structure their sentences better. And when you speak, you notice that you repeat yourself, you use the same words, maybe you use too many filler words, maybe you find it difficult to structure your thoughts. It can be anything, but it doesn't really matter. What matters is that you know where you're going. So for most people, it's very painful to look at this list where everything they do is just wrong. Everything they do is not like those people do it. The purpose of recording yourself is to find mistakes, but the purpose of finding mistakes is not to get upset. The purpose of finding mistakes is to be able to understand them and to correct them. What matters here is the speed of correction, and this requires this change of mindset. A lot of people do completely the opposite thing. What they do is they listen to their voice, to the recording of their voice, they get upset and they never want to listen to this recording one more time. They watch a video with their presentation, or they see their face on screen and they say, that's not me, please delete it, I don't want to look at this anymore. The first thing is to get into a habit of filming yourself. For example, if you're working out at home right now, if you do not have access to a personal trainer, and if you're not sure if you're doing the moves correctly, it's a good idea to film yourself. Not with the purpose to share it on Instagram and to tell everyone that you did a workout, but the purpose would be to look at your form. Are you working out with the proper form? Yes or no? And if you're compromising your form, then you will be more attentive next time you do this exercise, if your purpose is to fix those mistakes. When we practice our speaking skills, the first thing is that we need to get used to the idea of recording ourselves. The easiest way to do this is to send voice messages. This is why I communicate with most of my students via voice and video messages. They can download this video message, they can upload it somewhere where they have access to this, and they can listen to it later. I also do that. Whenever I send a voice message, I always listen to my voice message and I check the way I sound. I do videos and I send video replies to my students so that they can have a copy of their reply, of my reply, and so that I can have a look at the way I speak. And this is the starting point, because as I said in my previous video where I was explaining the way I work on my mistakes, in order to be able to work on your mistakes and to do something with them, you need to see them. In order to see your own mistakes, you need to listen to how you talk. Even if you take private lessons with a private teacher and you don't record this and you don't give feedback to yourself, you only rely on what the teacher tells you, right? You rely on a teacher who gives you feedback on your speech, but this is your teacher's opinion. You don't see it yourself. So you rely on somebody's opinion about your English skills, and you get dependent on somebody's opinion. And this is why most people cannot get rid of this fear of making mistakes, because every time they open their mouth, even very advanced students, they open their mouth, they say something and they stop. They're waiting for approval or disapproval. They are wondering if someone has noticed that they made a mistake. The only experience they have is a private lesson with a teacher where a teacher will tell them, hey, this is correct, oh, this is incorrect. But what's the point, right? If you cannot give feedback to yourself, you're not learning. You're learning to be dependent on a teacher. What I care about, and I think what I teach, is how you can self-educate yourself, how you can apply the best strategies that are out there to teach yourself to continuously improve your speaking skills, your listening skills, your writing skills, and your overall fluency, because the goal for us is native-like fluency. And wherever you are, it doesn't matter where you are right now, wherever you are, you can achieve that if you continuously move forward. It's just most people don't really move forward. They run in a loop, you know, and this loop is always, you know, it's always the same. They make mistakes, Somebody corrects their mistakes, they feel bad about their mistakes, they don't learn anything, they make the same mistakes again, they get corrected again, they feel they're stupid, they cannot learn how to say this word, it's been 10 years, they still cannot tell the difference between present perfect and past perfect, and they just feel that they're not learning anything because they repeat the same mistakes again and again. And I don't think that that's sustainable, and I don't think that makes any sense. This is why step number 1, get into a habit of recording yourself. It's very important. And you do not need to record long videos. Even if you send voice messages to yourself, or even if you read small paragraphs out loud, even one sentence, if you read one sentence out loud and you actually get to hear how it sounds when you say it, this is a good start. My first exercise was written out loud, and I started with reading phrases, sentences, then paragraphs, and then longer paragraphs, and then I started doing longer videos. Because, you know, if you have never been on camera before, if you have no experience of filming yourself, if you think that you're just going to sit in front of the camera and do an hour-long video in English, well, good luck. I used to think that, and I used to think that it's not going to be a problem, but I remember that once I saw myself on camera, I saw my face, and I saw the way I was talking. I just wanted to delete every single minute of that video, and I was never satisfied. I had to do it again and again and again until I realized that I simply do not have the skill, and I need to practice that skill. Once you have recorded yourself, even if you're working with one sentence, the questions you can ask yourself is, what do I see? A very simple question. Ask yourself, what do I see? And do not try to answer this question logically, right? The purpose of this question is not to find what you don't like, all right? Listen to the question. The question is, what do I see? Who do I see in this video? Most people understand this question is, how many mistakes did I make? No, it's not about that, because maybe you will see something good. A good idea is to watch those videos the next day, or, you know, in a week maybe, once you're no longer emotionally attached to that experience, and you can watch this video as if this is someone else. I usually listen to the voice messages I send right away, because if I notice that I sent something I didn't want to send, I delete it and I send another one, or I just add more comments. I know that a lot of people hate voice messages because most people cannot communicate their ideas clearly in a voice message. You know, they need 3 minutes to explain something that could have been one short sentence if they had sent a text. And if you can formulate your ideas, and if you can send clear voice messages, it's going to be enjoyable for people to listen to those. Now, coming back to this question, what do I see? Don't answer this question logically. Listen with your heart. Yeah, watch this video with your heart as well. What do you see? The answers can be various. There is no correct answer to this question. But first, you need to feel that. What do you see? And whatever comes to mind, just write it down for yourself. Okay, what did I see? What person did you see? Maybe you will see your own emotions. Maybe that comes first before your message, right? Maybe, I don't know, you will see that you're doing something weird with your body, some body language. What do you see? This question is interesting because what do you see first? Do you see the message first? Do you see the person first? Do you see the emotions first? Do you see body language first? Because when people look at you, this is what they see as well. That's why I think it's a good idea to listen to yourself and to watch your videos a bit later, because you can see more. And if you record a video today and you watch it today, you're going to see one thing. If you watch the same video 3 months from now, you're going to see a lot more. If you watch this video in a year, you're going to see a lot more. Everybody who's taken the listening course, they have playlists with all their recordings, and we keep them on purpose so that people can go back. They listen to the way they used to sound when they started the course, and it's easier to track your own progress when you can go back and listen to what you actually used to say. Not your idea of how you sounded, but what you actually said and how you actually sound. Now, step number 2 is, once you've written this down, what do you see? Step number 2 is ask yourself, how different is the image that you see if you're watching the video, or if you are listening to a voice message, to an audio file with your own voice? How different is this from what you imagined? We all speak beautiful English in our head, you know, and we all think that whatever we see every morning in our bathroom mirror is what everybody else sees. We are used to seeing ourselves in the bathroom mirror every day. Every day is the same light, every day is the same setting. We look in the mirror and we're used to this image, right? And when we take selfies, we also know which angle is the best, you know, how to take the best selfie. And when we look at the selfies that we have taken, we think that everybody sees us like this. When we post selfies, we control the way people see us. But if you've been in a situation where somebody snapped a picture of you, or somebody filmed you when you didn't know they were filming, or coming back to the situation where you were delivering a presentation on stage and the organizers of the conference were filming every presentation, and you probably didn't know, or you didn't expect, and you didn't make sure that you're turning with your best side to them, then you probably have had this experience where you look at those pictures that somebody took of you, and you see those videos and you hate them, you don't like them. You would never post them on Instagram, and you tell them, oh my God, that's a terrible picture, that's not me. My point is that you cannot control what people see, because people look at you from different sides, you know, they communicate with you very differently every day. You cannot control that. That's a huge mistake when people practice public speaking skills, when they try to control the way people see them, because the whole experience becomes fake. It's not interesting to talk to someone who tries to show you their best side because they think you're not able to see anything else. People see everything, and we cannot control that. That's why when you make a video, of course, you will choose the best slide, you will probably dress up, whatever. But when I practice on my own, I don't do that. But when you see yourself on camera today, if you filmed a video today, or in 3 months, in 6 months, you will get a chance to see what other people see. And especially if you ask your friend or someone in your family to take a video of you, you might read a poem out loud, you might read a text, you might just share your ideas, and somebody can film you, somebody you trust. When you see yourself, you get a chance to see what other people see. And you need to ask yourself, how different is this image that other people see from what you imagined you look like, right? In our head, we all have this image of ourselves, how we speak English, how we behave, what kind of person we are, how we explain. A lot of people believe that they're brilliant at explanations until they listen to how they actually explain things. And a lot of people don't understand why other people don't understand them, because their explanations are long, rambling, and not clear. So we have certain illusions about the way we look, about the way we speak. And when you ask yourself, how different is this image from what I thought it is, write down the differences. For many people, body language comes as a big surprise. They had no idea that they were doing these weird things with their hands, with their legs, with their whole body. Maybe that's something that you never paid attention. There's beautiful material to work with, because you start seeing something that you never paid attention to. And the whole idea of all the courses I create, especially the writing course, is that we help you pay attention to the things you never thought about. It just never crossed your mind. Like, for example, today we had this interesting conversation. What is correct? A person wrote parent skills, and then one of the instructors on the course, a native speaker, commented, parent support. This word needs an adjective, Support, the word support needs an adjective. And then the student replied immediately, oh, parenting support. And the instructor asked again, are you sure? And then turned out that there are words parenting and parental and parent. So when do you use what? You can say parenting support and you can say parental support. What is correct? What exactly is correct? And if you never thought about this, you probably didn't even think that that's important, right? And you never thought that there isn't a difference. But actually, if you look into the details, it's interesting because you might communicate a completely wrong message. So in her text, she was trying to say that children need parental support, but what she said instead, they need parenting support. So parenting support is what parents get. If when you learn parenting skills, when you take courses where they teach you parenting skills, it's what you get as a parent. Parenting support. It's support for parents. But parental support is support for the kids. It's what parents give to their kids, the support that parents give to their kids. And if you don't know, if you never paid attention to that before, you're saying the wrong thing, an absolutely different thing. And she meant that parents need to support their kids, but instead she said that parents need support themselves. That's interesting. So most people actually think that it's other people's job to figure out what they said. They just give words and sentences to people, and they give people a job to figure out what this all means. And this communication is not very enjoyable. When you understand how other people think and how your message should be received, you will find a way to communicate it correctly. When you watch videos of yourself, you will also notice that you're not communicating what you mean to say. And probably the way you speak is not what you imagined it is. Write it down. Write down all the inconsistencies that you see. You can ask yourself why you're doing these things. Maybe you feel nervous. Maybe you're wearing uncomfortable clothes. Maybe the sun is right, is shining right in your eyes and it's not very comfortable. There might be very trivial reasons like this, like uncomfortable clothes, too hot, you're thirsty. Or there can be reasons where, something you never paid attention to. Something you need to pay attention to, and only you have the answers. How to fix that, and what to do with this, and what's the reason for this behavior. No teacher in the world can explain to you why you're doing what you're doing when you're on camera. The beauty of this exercise is that you do not need a teacher to tell you what you're doing wrong. You see yourself, you give feedback to yourself, and you immediately know what you need to fix. You immediately see what needs to be corrected. And you don't feel like someone is judging you. You just see that, oh, why am I doing that? I should stop. And you stop. Simple, easy. Sometimes we do things repeatedly and we don't intend to do them. For example, we repeat the same words, we repeat filler words. If you notice that you do something repeatedly, or you say incorrect word combinations, you use the wrong grammar, just write down those things that you need to pay attention to every time you speak. Like some people keep saying I disagree instead of I disagree. If this is something you keep repeating, write it down somewhere where you can see it, stick it on your fridge, and every time you pass by, say it out loud. Say the correct version out loud. It's a very simple exercise. It's very powerful. Just to wrap it up, the purpose of filming yourself, the purpose of recording your speech is to find mistakes so that you can fix them. And it's not to find mistakes so that you can get upset. What matters here is the speed of correction. Once you have found your mistakes, you don't need to talk about them. You don't need to share your mistakes with anyone. You don't need to think about them much, what most people do. I don't know why. You don't need to create a story around them. What you need to do is you need to write down everything you said wrong in the left column. And in front of everything you said wrong, you need to write the correct variant. And you need to write it. Don't do this exercise in your head. It doesn't work. You really need to take a pen and write it on paper, because this way you will remember. If you simply say, oh yeah, I said this wrong. Oh, next time I'll say it correctly. No, you won't. Next time you will say it the same way. What you need to do is you need to think, what is the right way of saying that? What is the right way of articulating that message? You need to write it down. You need to say the correct variant out loud a few times until you get used to that. And you need to record yourself saying the correct variant out loud. That's it. And the faster you do it, the faster you get the result. It's all about the mindset. It's either you get into this state of inner disappointment about all the mistakes that you've made, or you correct them as fast as you can. You will not be able to correct all of them immediately, especially if you have been mispronouncing some words for years, or especially if you have never paid attention to some things, or especially if you've never learned grammar and you never listened to the way you talk. You will not be able to improve everything and to fix everything the next day. But you are responsible for diverting your attention, right? You can pay attention to the negative things, and you can pay attention to, how can I fix that? How can I fix this faster? And the fastest ways to fix it is to be attentive to those things that you say and to know the correct variant. Because if you know that you made a mistake but you don't know how to say it better, you will not say it better. You need to know the better way to say it. You need to have it in writing. And every time you forgot, because you will forget, definitely, I promise, if you forgot how to say it correctly, you can rely on your notes. You can go back to that notebook and you can remember, you can say it out loud again, and if necessary, you can record yourself out loud. And this is what gives you confidence. The knowledge that everything you're saying is correct. The knowledge that you're not, you can hear now that you're not saying what you used to say. You don't say, I am disagree anymore. You say, I disagree. I agree. And that's it. If you guys have any questions, you can write them in the comments. I hope that makes sense. It's important to work with mistakes because it's a good indicator that you hear them. If you don't hear them, but you make them, it's a problem. If you rely on somebody to tell you what your mistakes are, it's also a problem. If you hear that you make a mistake or the same mistake again and again, and you don't know what to do about it, and you don't even ask yourself what I should do about it, it's also a problem. Let's say I'm just talking for myself. The best way for me to deal with them and to move to the next level is to listen to myself, to be attentive to the way I speak, to hear my mistakes and to fix them as fast as I can. Very often I cannot fix them right at the moment of speaking, but I remember that I said that, and then I will work on my mistakes after I'm done speaking. I will find a better way of saying what I wanted to say, and then I will practice saying that until I feel comfortable and until I feel confident saying that again and again and again. It's the speed of correction that matters, and the courage to self-correct your own speech. That's it.